Hey guys, I want to talk about CT side Mirage today, particularly the aggressive CT side tactics that you can call sort of at the beginning of the round or mid-round. Sort of mix up your CT side. We've gotten fairly proficient at the default. If we're hitting our shots, we can win 10 to 12 CT rounds, but if we're not hitting our shots, we don't have many set plays to deal with that. So I'm going to go over 3, I think, in the pistol round of the Liquid versus Cloud9 game when Liquid is on CT side. So the first one I'm going to talk about. Now I'm just going to show the overview. So right at the beginning of the round, they have three people jump out window. So they've got a 1, goodness gracious, 3-1 setup going on. Where Mirage holds top mid at the beginning of the round while these two guys jump out and push it just to see if they're to kill anyone waiting top mid and basically cut off the rotations. And they have Nitro anchoring this B site, Twist anchoring the A site. Now, unfortunately for them, Cloud9 did the hard counter to this, which I'll show you, is a rush B. A rush A is easier to deal with than a rush B when you push 3 guys mid. So they come out B, Nitro, and this is how you deal with a rush B if you're playing solo B. You fall back to market and you don't die. Now, unless you get 3 kills, it is always better to live than to get any fewer and die when you're anchoring the site with 5 men alive. So what happens is they get out. Nitro hears many. He falls back to market and he sets up for the retake. His job is to hold market. If they push 2 guys into market, fine. He's not expected to win that, but if they push 1 at a time into market, he's expected to kill them. And the reason you need market is you need a place for Twist to rotate to in order to retake. So the 3 push mid strat is useful if the T's were playing a default where they had 1 and they had 2 guys waiting up here and 2 guys waiting up there. They'd probably kill at least one of these mid guys, and then they could fall back and they could just play standard from there. But if they rush B, you do what these guys are doing. He's taking big flank. So is Liege. They're going to meet up underpass, and Naf is taking Cat. So the next round, they lose this round, by the way. It's kind of a luck thing. I can talk about that later. So the next round I want to talk about is the third round, and this round they do pretty much the exact opposite of the previous round. Instead of sending 2 guys straight up mid and 1 to watch underpass, they play 2 right around here to shoot anyone as they jump out. They try and rush B again, and then they take this control and Palace control. So they flash Liege into Palace, and then they keep the 2 guys that have pistols. These are their weapons. 2 guys that have pistols, they play close. Unfortunately, Cloud9 also does the counter to this. This time they run up and they do a fast connector play, so they're just not doing well. If Cloud9 had done this fast connector play when Liquid had pushed mid, they probably would have gotten destroyed. It would have been a straight fight. The terrorists would not be expecting 3 people mid. So the counter-terrorists could at least get 1 free kill before they realize, holy fuck, there's so many here. Start spamming your Glocks. But unfortunately, it doesn't work. It doesn't work all the time. Now, for the next oh gosh, probably 10 rounds. A lot of rounds. They just play bog standard. So if you want to watch how to team play on CT side and how to play that mid area, a slight tangent here. The very standard way is to have two guys in the site, a guy in window, and then like one guy here and one guy cat, which is fine unless you're losing duels. So what you can do is you can sort of lean one way or the other, where you can have one here and then pushed up cat, and then places like this, so that you've got Palace super locked down, and if they come out ramp, you can like get a kill and fall back. Or if they push mid, they're fucked. If they push B, you get a kill and fall back. Or you put two here, and then you play, I don't know, maybe here. 1, 2, 3. And then you play two by the apartments. That's what Liquid did for a solid 8 rounds. So the round I'm going to skip to is round number 12, where they finally do some, shall I say ballsy? Or shall I just say interesting? Let's say interesting. They do some interesting shit. So it's a gun round. They don't do anything too fancy right at the beginning. It's how they adjust. So they start out, the only thing fancy that they do is instead of Nitro playing here, right, Nitro's number 1, he jumps out the window onto cat. So they totally lock down mid this way. As I was saying, this is kind of standard. This is one of the ways they do it. But the thing is Ska and Stu are throwing flashes over, and I don't remember if they molly Van. He's got his molly. So okay, so Stu just threw a flash and they heard footsteps. So Naf has gone from cat up to close to the apartments, and Nitro falls off mid. So here's where the whole team just does a shift all at once. And Elige falls back. So I'm gonna hit play. Elige is watching the underpass angle. He's just jump spotting. Nitro goes back to cat, and Steel smokes off B so that he can push it. So quickly, these 3 players make sure they double check. They're like, okay, no one's mid, and Steel is kind of working solo. He's kind of doing his own thing in this game, but he pushes B so that Naf and Nitro can double up on mid, and they got that kill on Tarek. And then they play a very unique Retake A setup where they have close apartments, 2 on cat, and then 2 in the connect. What the fuck was that? And then 2 in the connector area. Steel gets a pick. They hit, as I said, they already killed Tarek top mid, and it turns into a straight A hit. And I'm pretty sure they clean up easily because C-Die guys don't have any utility, and they get shut out. CT side, it's really hard to completely read the terrorists, because half the time the terrorists don't even know what the fuck they're doing. So how are the counter-terrorists need to be seriously studied up to know what the terrorists are going to do. But you can kind of play the map to throw a curveball at the terrorists once in a while. If you just play bog default the whole half, at least every time you have a gun, and you get executed on and you're losing, you have to do something so that you can at least get 5 rounds, so that you can at least not get completely shut out. And some of that is do one of these push apartments plays and try and single out a guy and get a gun and save it. you can like make about $3,000 doing that. Or it's push up mid and try and get someone who's not suspecting, and then rotate quickly into a stack like we saw, or go forward, get information, get a stack. It's kind of the CT side's like playing poker in that if you're really aggressive, you can force mistakes. You can win hands that you wouldn't normally win, which in this case would be you can win rounds that you wouldn't normally win, because you're in their face and you're making them uncomfortable. And then when you just fall back with a double op setup, they don't hit you quite as fast because they're worried about these close angles, all this shit. They won't fly out quite as fast, and you can maybe get an extra bullet in, or you can get one more peek with an op where you wouldn't normally be able to if you just played the same spots. Like, you can mix it up in a window, but like there's like 3 places you can play window with an op. But if occasionally you're here, and sometimes you're here, sometimes you're here, and sometimes you're underpass, like pushed up, suddenly it makes those defaults easier to execute. And that's kind of how these teams like Cloud9, like FaZe, can get these insane 9 to 13 round CT sides. And I think that style kind of fits our team.